quick history lesson. Basically, the 12 principles came from the Disney animators. It was made as a way to get movement to feel a bit more fluid. So like way back in the day, there wasn't really like many like animation sort of like guidelines. It was kind of more like free form, at least to my knowledge that I've known. And I think from the way that Disney sort of like, not like industrialized, but the way that they sort of like made a more systematic approach to animation, that you had different rules you can follow. You had a specific style. So like whenever you see a Disney film from way back in like, you know, early 80s or whatnot, they started developing their own unique style back when they used to do actual hand-drawn stuff and not just sort of like the more soulless corporate slop that they keep producing at the moment. So yeah, if you guys don't know about Disney and the 9 Old Men, basically they're like, I think some of the original or like the core group that Walt put in to, I can't remember the story to be fair, but if you want to read more about it, you can literally just search up who were the 9 Old Men and you can have a little bit look at who they were. But yeah, this is basically a concept that originated from sort of the Disney's animators, like the oldest or core, like the most senior animators they had at the time. And basically is what we use to this day to sort of make animations feel way more realistic and fluid. In terms of videos that you can also watch, I'll re-link them at the end. But Manu Mercurial has a really, really good video that basically shows the origin of it all in a lot more detail, with a lot more visual examples, as we can see on here. All the different styles, what sort of came into it, and has a couple of examples of like squashing and stretching and all that stuff. So again, animation back in those days was wild. Everything was really, like, if you look at any animations from even like Eastern Europe, particularly like Russian and Czech animation films, they have some bizarre animation styles which are really, really abstract and really, really cool. But I feel like with the West, they wanted to go for more of that realism, or at least Disney wanted to go more of that realism. So that's how we ended up with these 12 principles. Another really good video to go into further detail with each of these if you want to have a look at it on your own time. Alan Becker's tutorials covering the full series of the animation principles is another really, really good one. But basically, I'm just going to take these ones and sort of dumb them down a lot more, so anyone can do, even if you're on your phone. I'm going to see if I can teach you these principles, even if you are on your phone. But some of these I might need some reminder. I shut down. I forgot to type it down. Where is it? There we go. We'll keep it there. Right. So, which is what we're going to cover today? Squash and stretch, anticipation and staging. Right. Let me show you guys, take you guys over to. There we go. So I will be using a sprite for this. Again, if you guys have any preferences on your software, it's probably, if you want to follow along, it's probably best to start setting up your software now whilst I go through some of the basics. And if you do need any help setting up your software, do let me know. We can have a quick look together. But the main thing you should do, regardless of your software, so this is something that should be universal to any tool that you're using, be it a pixel art software or a sort of digital animation one, is on your timeline, you want to be able to have like at least like an onion skin, which I think within a sprite you press F3 to toggle it on and off. Oh, or on my on OBS it causes me to go to a different thing. I apologize. But down here there should be an option. Oh, sorry, I got a delivery. Be right back. I'm back. Where were we? Setting up software. Yes, onion skin. As long as you're able... you guys won't be able to see my pop-up. Annoying. This button here in a sprite is what you should press, and within it you should be able to toggle the settings. I've made mine... my canvas size is 320 by 1080 pixels. Again, for you it might be different, depending on what you want. You can do this with literally any size screen. I'm using it at this stage so I can show you guys how to do like squash and stretching a little bit better, because I think like with smaller pixels it'll be a lot more it'll be a little bit harder to, oh no, I'm deleting the wrong bits. Yeah, it might be a little bit harder to do squash and stretching anything smaller, but any size like above like 180 pixels, you should be good, just so you can apply some squash and stretch to your things. But yes, where was I? Onion skin. Find out where it is for your software. It usually should be somewhere in the timeline. And if not, you can always see if there's, where would it be? I think in Pixie Editor it's quite easy from what I last used. Ace Bright, what's the actual menu? Just click on the onion skin icon. Okay, well, I think it's just, yeah, it'll be, every website has its own icon, but I think it's an icon that either looks like this, like two squares overlapping each other. It's usually what the icon is. If it isn't, do let me know, we can have a little bit of a play around. And when you do your settings, you basically just want to be able to see like a couple of frames forward and a couple of frames backwards. In Ace Bright, you have the option to have red tint or blue tints, and you can set around the opacity to whatever you want. So in this case, this will be like a 27 opacity and versus a 31. It looks like a, oh, fair enough. If it looks like an onion on pixel editor, that's even better then. So that's good to know. In my case, you will be seeing a blue and red because I've tinted it. So I know that the past ones are in red and that the newer ones, or the more forward frames, are in blue. Right, so we're going to just delete these and begin with the first principle, which is going to be squash and stretch. Right, go to Chrome. Oh, I actually minimized my window. Right, here we go. So I'm also going to do this with mouse, just to show you guys how you can do it with mouse, because otherwise, again, it might be harder to teach it. So we can begin with like a simple sort of shape here. So I'm going to make, what size should we go? Let's go for like I'm going to go for like a 40 pixel like round shape here. Then I'm going to reduce the size of it just so we can like edit it a little bit. Now, if you don't, an easy way you could potentially do it is if you use either your rectangle select, so like this one where you get the little ants, and you can begin sort of like squashing and stretching it like this. That also works. If you are on PC, you can do that. You should also be able to do this on mobile. But let's show you guys kind of how this works. So in my background layer, I am going to make a line just to show you guys. Oh, wait. I'll do a line here. Just to sort of like refer to what the floor may look like. Right, and then I'll copy, paste, 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 paste. Oh no. I still need to remember the short. I have not animated in Ace Bright in a very, very long time. I'm just going to quickly fill those in. So now, okay, we got a consistent background with a floor, which is the first thing we should do. I'm also going to lock it, just so I don't accidentally draw on top of it. And then we can go on to the ball. So yeah, main things to set up is a background with a line. Make sure it's locked so you don't draw on top of it. And then have a separate layer so that we can mess around with our ball shape. So we'll go back to this one. Right, now, how do we begin squashing and stretching? Well, this simple process is kind of like, you know how your face sometimes it changes in shape, but still keeps the same sort of volume? That's kind of what squashing and stretching is. It's like, say for example, with my mouth, like if you think of my head as a shape, like an oval shape, if I open my mouth, it expands the shape, but it shrinks in my cheeks a little bit. So I go, my cheeks go in. Or if I try and like puff out my face a little bit, it sort of shortens the sort of height of my face a little bit and widens me out. That's essentially how you should think about like squashing and stretching. You're making some things wider or higher, but you're keeping the same volume. So in this case, I wouldn't squash up this way, just because that's adding rather than keeping the same sort of volume. So one easy way you could potentially do it is literally just going with your marquee tool and just sort of like shortening it by say 3 or 5 pixels and then increasing it Oh, there you go. And then you increase it by another 5 or 6 pixels. So those 5 or 6 pixels that you reduce, you can then increase it a little bit by... So whatever you reduce on one axis or one dimension, you need to increase the other. So it keeps that sort of same... Yeah, unless you're using a smear frame. But that's a different one. That's a different thing. Obviously, if you do using smear frames, it's very different. But if you are squashing it by... You know, you can measure it if you want to be exact. You don't have to be. Again, a lot of animation doesn't have to be exact. This is just more for you guys to play around with. When you're squashing and stretching, it's just whatever you reduce the width or the height by to squash down the shape, you have to then give that to another aspect of it so it keeps that same volume. Otherwise, you'll end up with something that looks very, very, very weird. So in this example, let's go and begin squashing our shape. So in this example, I'm going to shrink it. This is like what? So you can see I've got the number. As I was about to say, my numbers disappeared. So when I move it... Oh. Wait, give me a sec. These shortcuts, man, I keep forgetting because I'm so used to doing this on mobile. As you can see, at the top bar right now, it says P129, 72, 75, and all that. I am literally just holding Alt and shrinking this... I actually don't know which axis this is, but I'm assuming this is 49 is the actual width. So say, for example, this is where we were. We shrink it down by like 5 or 6. And then when we want to... Oh, we can then grab the height and then go up by 5 or 6. And then we deselect, put it back to where it is, and we'll turn on the toggle. So here's how you sort of begin to show the squash and stretching of it. Where it's still the same volume, so when you flick between the two, it still looks normal enough. It doesn't look completely different to what the original shape was. And then basically what you can just do is you copy that frame, you paste it again, you can then reselect it, you can then shrink it again a little bit more. So in this case, from where we were, we'll reduce it, I guess, another 8 pixels. Ooh. And then we'll increase it by another 8, so that'll be 6, to put it about 70. And then we deselect it, and we can move that down with a select tool. And you've got a basic squash. And stretch as well, because we're squashing. As we begin to squish that ball in, it begins rising up a little bit, so whatever we take away and squashing from the sides, it will be sort of, it kind of comes out a different way. Think of it, wait, I've got a gimmick. Give me a sec. I've got it. So if everyone can see me, not the screen. So here is a squishable cube. Whenever I press on the sides, can you see how it rises? It rises upwards. It's not the same height that it used to be. So say, for example, start here. I've squashed the sides, and now it's gone up. Same on this side. It might be a bit more easy. So if you start with this cube here, if you're going to stretch it out, look how it changes. Oh, this is brilliant. If you can get it, it's called Nido. I don't know if you can see it on stream. It's beautiful stuff. But this is kind of what squashing and stretching is all about. Like, whatever you sort of move, it gets displaced elsewhere. You don't lose it and you don't add. It just gets displaced. Yeah, basically, you want to try and keep the same volume. Yeah. No, it's... Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get back onto Chrome and show you guys what this is. My partner bought this for... It is a stress ball. But it's specifically... Wait, what? How's it spelled? Oh, okay. It's this. It's like a sensory toy. This is the one that we got. Where you just like squash and stretch the shit out of it. It's brilliant. I love it. Right, let me go back onto OBS. Highly recommend. But yes, basically you want to try and keep the same... Basically, you want to try and keep the same volume. So in this, whenever I squash it, it stretches to the sides because like the volume is being displaced elsewhere. That's basically what squash and stretches. So when, say for example, when this would fall on the ground, that downward force would cause it to splay out, and then it would come back in. It would splay out a little bit, and then it'd start getting back into what its original shape would be. Give this a couple of minutes and it'll return back to being a cube. Which is basically what we're doing here. So say for example, the first frame, the ball is just about to hit the floor. or in this case, it's hitting the floor and it's come back up. Like I've done this in the wrong order, like gravity wise. But if this is like the most it gets squashed down, we can then begin to sort of reverse the process. So I just copied frame number 2 onto frame number 3. And you can see it coming back down. So you can just loop it back into the beginning again. So then when we play it... Oh, maybe not with that makes it. Like you've got a squashed and stretch circle that just goes up and down, up and down. So that's basically what squash and stretch is as a very, very basic concept of it you can play around with. You can do this with any shape. You can do this with any sort of like thing, as long as you know kind of where the rest of the face or body will go. You can literally make a face. If we draw it on the side here as an example, I'll use my pen for this just to make it quicker. Say, for example, if you do have a face, like a face that you want to like squash down, you can then begin to sort of like squash it down slightly and then move the sort of like the rest of the face around it. So like say for example, you can like exaggerate. Oh, maybe. And you can sort of begin to play around with it and just mess around with it. Again, probably not the best example. I'll show you some actual finished examples from the YouTube videos, but I'll quickly show you as well how you can also continue going. So if I add some more here, so we'll add another frame here. So in this frame, we're there. We'll turn back onion skin. We're there. Oh, delete those. Then we start changing it this way. So 1, 3. Then we go into the sides to squash it out this way. So it goes from here, here, copy and paste that. What's the... So whatever we subtract, we increase, and then it goes back down. And then we return it, I think, here. Right. And then deselect, change that. Now we'll play it. Obviously, we've got to work on the spacing, but like, what's this? Deny. Obviously, we've got to work on the spacing to make it more fluid, but if you're just using your mouse and a mask tool, this is how you can practice squashing and stretching. Just getting used to that thing of always keeping the same volume as you go up and down. And it looks good. Like, obviously, we need to space it out a little bit better and work on that. But, like, overall, it works pretty well. I think if I delete this last frame, I think it might work better. Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot to mention FPS. Yes, you can do this at 12 FPS or 24 FPS on your setup. I actually don't know what is set up here. I think this is set up... Actually, wait, I have not used the animation thing in here in a while. So I actually don't know what it's set up to be. Frame properties. All of these are done to 100 milliseconds. Which I assume is for 12 FPS. How many milliseconds in a second? Let me double check. It's 1,000. What about 100 milliseconds? It's 0.1 second. Oh, wait. It's great. Is there a way? So modify frame rate via properties, change the speed in milliseconds, lower number goes faster. Okay. To modify frame rate, is frame properties. Okay, it's not the same. I thought it'd be different. Okay. Oh well. 0.1 seconds. Okay. I do not know the maths of how many, if it's 12 frames, I don't know how long they should be, but you guys can play around with it. But yes, 12 FPS and 24 FPS are usually the ones you want to stick for. In this case, it's 0.1 of a second. So I'm assuming that 10 of these images equate. So I'm guessing this is at 12 FPS. So it might have to be, what's 1,000 divided by 12? 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming I'm doing the math right. So 83, 84 milliseconds to make a 12 FPS thing, I guess. I am not good at maths. I mean, I play Warhammer, but it doesn't mean I'm good at maths. I should be, but I'm not. So yeah, I don't know if that's the right calculation on Sprite, but like, on average, you can just mess around with it. I think it being like 0.1 of a millisecond should be fine if you have 10. It'll just be at 10 FPS. But we can play around with that. We can play that. Either way, that is Swash and Stretch. Any quick questions on that before I move on to the next one? Is everyone happy with sort of like what Swash and Stretch is at a very basic level? So I feel like if this was supposed to be more in depth, we'd be here literally for the rest of the day. I only have an hour to teach this all in, so we'll try what we can. And also, yeah, just beginner exercise for people just to mess around with, in as sort of like accessible way as possible. Is kind of what we're trying to do here. Right. So next one is timing. Oh, fun enough, that's what we're doing. Let me remind myself what timing bits were. So right, this is in really no particular order. Then this is just what I decided that I wanted to do. Wait, let me double look. What exercise were they using for timing? Overlapping action, yeah. I'd feel good to do slow in, slow out as well. I guess we can cover timing in this way. Give me a sec, I think. I'm trying to find the best way to teach this bit. So we'll call this stretch ball. Oh. Sorry, we'll do a new layer. So timing. Timing, like, it's more about... Because timing and spacing are two different things. Spacing is the difference between frames. So if this frame is here, and the next frame is going to be over here, this is spacing. So spacing is how much of the frame has changed from the previous one. So this would be huge spacing, and then this frame here would be small spacing. But it's not timing. Timing, I think, is more about how long... Well, let me turn that off. So that's spacing. Spacing basically is what gives you those sort of like quick, sharp movements and the more slower, like smoother movements. So like if you've ever seen Into the Spider-Verse, when they talk about they animated Miles, or at least in the first one, well, Miles was animated on ones and Peter Parker was animated on twos. It's like, it's on that same sort of thing, but I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it actually, because they're linked, but they're not the same. We'll just read what they've written down here. So now would you trick the audience to think that does justice to timing of the scene. So timing specifically is to do with animating on ones or animating on twos, where you leave a frame on for longer than it is to sort of like fake how quick something is. So my mind's gone blank on how to do this. Wait, let me look at the actual definition. Right. Okay, yeah, so, okay. I'm overthinking it. Timing is literally just the duration of the actual frames, and spacing is the distance between the frames. So, okay, we were on the right thing. I was over... hey, welcome, Jin. Welcome. Yeah, I am overcomplicating it for myself. Right, it is literally what I thought it was. Okay, that is fine. Right, so, timing. timing is how long it is, which is what we were just talking about, whereas 12 FPS or 24 FPS, depending on the length of time you've left the frame on. So in this case, let's go for pose 1, we'll make that 1 second. And pose 2 will be like 0.1 of a second, and frame 3 will be 0.1. So when we play it, it holds it for a second, and then it shoots it forward. So this bit you're seeing is mostly timing, so how long each frame is on for. Spacing, it's what illusion you've seen because of it. So if I were to do... Oh, let's go back with this. Turn onion skinning back on. If we make the spacing even smaller still, and then we hold that there. So we then change the timing to a second. We create this illusion of movement where it holds, shoots, and then it slows down, which is another aspect of animation called slow in, slow out. So slow in, slow out is basically where you start slow and you start your movement slowly and you end your movement slowly. So it's the same as easy in or easing in. If you're more into motion graphics, it's the same thing as easing a piece of animation. In this case, it uses the principles of timing and spacing to create the illusion of slowing in and slowing out an object. Where in this case, we're holding a frame, so we're using the timing to hold the frame for a little bit longer, not actually painting any more frames, but just making that frame stay on for longer. So in this case, we'd be animating on 2s or on 4s. Thanks for the follow. Wait, sorry, I can't see the name. Who followed? Welcome, Cyrus. Welcome. So yeah, to think about timing or to practice your timing, that's the easy bit, because you could just mess around with how long you leave a frame on for to create different types of illusions. So in this case, we hold the frame for a second, so we don't draw anything else. It's just that frame 1 held for a second. And then we use spacing to create it going really fast from one point to another, because that's the massive difference in space between each thing. For frames 4, 5, and 6, the spacing is very small, so it gives the illusion that it's going a lot slower than it actually is. But we can hold those frames to give different types of things. So experiment. So in this case, let's see what happens when we increase the frame number here to 200. And then we go frame 6 is going to be held. Okay, frame 6 is fine there. Frame 4 is going to be 400. Frame 3 is going to be, let's make it 600. And then this is the, oh, it looks really choppy because we increased the timing, but the spacing is still the same. I'm just trying to think of the best way to sort of think about it. Yeah, timing is duration. So what is that on the tins? Nothing complicated. And then spacing is change in frame. Like how much are you changing in your poses? And you can create different types of effects, and you can play around with it, you can hold it. Yeah, it all has the same sort of concept. So whenever you hear me talking about 12 FPS, 24 FPS, animating on 1, animating on 2s, that's all to do with the timing of the frame. Because if I'm going to be animating my stuff on 2s, like it's going to look a lot more choppier and a lot sort of like quicker than if I was animating on 1s, and timing was the same across all of them. It just looked like a smoother animation. But you'd have to draw more drawings. So they all kind of connect, but they have their own individual like nuances you can mess around with. Spacing's the easiest, so like how much I go from like one pose to another. So like I explained, these two poses, big spacing. The rest, I've got less spacing. So hopefully that clears up timing and spacing, and also introduces slow in, slow out, which we'll get into next, actually, speaking on it. So next one, we'll use this graph. We'll use this as a graph. So if we go in pose number 1, we start in position A, and then slow in, slow out. I'll do you guys a new one. I'll use red for this so you guys can see. Oh, Cyrus, just saw that you got into Jujutsu Kaisen D&D campaign. How are you guys playing it? You guys using any particular rule sets, or is it homebrew rules for it? Because I don't know if there is any. Like any specific Jujutsu Kaisen stuff. In D&D you could do. Unless you're counting magic, but I'd be interested to see. Oh, speaking on flavored D&D campaigns, I was thinking of potentially running like a mystery one. Potentially like an inquisitorial, like Warhammer themed one, which could be quite fun. Which I really wanted to do. Thank you for the follow, Blue Bloy. Sorry, I don't know why I read that completely wrong. Thanks for the follow, mate. Thanks for the follow. But yeah, so slow in, slow out. I will draw something in and then I'll explain to you guys what I'm doing. So if you've got a movement from A to B, this could, again, this line that I've done doesn't have to be a straight line. It can be as bent as you want it to be. It doesn't matter. We'll go into that bit next when we talk about arcs. If we're starting at point, I'll actually name these A. Again, I'm using a mouse at the moment, so apologies for the the lack of writing. So say you want to get from position A to B, but you don't want it to be no, you stay. Okay, well. Let's say you want to get to A to B, but you don't want it to be like I'll turn this off so it's not inducing. You don't want it to be like this, and you actually want to be able to show like a smooth motion between it, because this is like hard cut your one end to the other, which doesn't look good. You want to make that smooth transition from point A to point B. That's pretty much what adding easing is getting you, it's a transition you're doing from one point to another, but you're adding like in between frames to smooth out that transition. With what I'm drawing here, how to do a hold frame? Wait, give me a sec. How to do a hold frames on Ace, I forget. Hold frame and X bright. Change frame duration is the easiest right click. I don't want to do that. I actually don't remember the shortcut to hold frames. Either way. Okay. With slow in, slow out, the easiest way to think about it is you want to think about halfway points or halfway in betweens. So in this case, between A and B, we've got this midpoint here, which where we're going to put in another image. Then between that, we want to add in another one. That's actually not center. And then in the middle of this one, we're going to add in another one. Again, this is not fully accurate. It's just to illustrate the point. And then basically, we just want to try and continue going halfway until we've got some form of easing between everything. So we start from A to B, we find the midpoint of A to B, then we find the midpoint of that, and then we continue going to the midpoint till we have something like this. It's getting a little bit hard to illustrate. Okay, I will get good at using a mouse at some point, I promise. So, now that we've got the midway points, this is a very good guide as to how our easing is going to move. So this is like an equal ease in, ease out. Like, so it's just like a very easy one to do. Sorry, it's a very easy sort of one to remember. They just go with the midway points, and this is how you create an easy ease in or an ease out. Easy ease is After Effects. My bad. So now when can I copy and paste this across all of these? No, I'm gonna have to do it manually. Great. Until I learn how to hold frame. Can I not convert it to a hold frame? Cell properties. No. I generally can't remember how to hold frame. So I remember there's a bar version you can get that just is the whole thing, but I'll work it out later. It's all good. Right, so we'll move this to the end. Our little frames, and you get to click the option. Like that. You get to click the option. So if I do... Okay. Okay, that makes sense. If I do it here... Oh, it's only done it. Okay, that's not... Okay. Wait. Do I have to individually select all of them? And then go to link cells. Unlink. There we go. Got you. Okay, that makes more sense. Right, I think I did just have to hold them each individually. That's why I didn't do it originally. Okay, I'll select them all. Right, thank you for that, because I generally could not remember. It's been such a long time since I've used. Oh, wait. Yeah, forgot I locked it. There we go. Right, that makes more sense. Got it. Thank you very much, Fahim. Right, so A to B, we're going to move this one. I'm just going to copy and paste it. I ain't going to waste time learning shortcuts. Yeah, that's all good. I generally forgot, like, genuinely. I was like, wait, what am I supposed to do here? Oh no, I pressed the wrong shortcut in case... Where did we go? Right, so in this case, we can then begin... Now that we've sort of planned out what our easy is going to be, we can then just start drawing in our shapes. So basically, we just go to a new frame, go to the next point that we've drawn in, and we just paint it. So I'm going to the next frame, finding where the next line is that I've planned out, and I press it there. Go to the midway point, we press it there. Next frame, press it. Next frame, we press it. Next frame, delete that, press it there. And then we add in a new frame. Delete this frame so we don't need it. That one there. And we add in a new one. Delete it as well because we don't need it there. And then we do the end point there. Oh, it's not straight, but that's okay. Oh. Let's link these cells. Right, now we turn this off. And now, hopefully, this should look as I expect. Oh, wait. Forgot that I changed the... Forget. Wait, give me a sec. I forgot the timing is all wrong. That's fine. That's not good. Back to 100. Back to 100. I was like, oh, that's not looking good. There we go. Okay, the timing should be okay now. Well, I'll check later, because I generally cannot remember most of my shortcuts. Right, here we go. Slow in, slow out, using the principles of spacing and timing. In this case, the timing is the same. They're all 100 milliseconds each. The timing has not changed. The spacing starts off really small and change, gets really big in the middle, and then it slows down right at the very end. And then if we take away the top layer, you guys can see how this begins slow, ends fast. And then the fun bit you can do is you can, with what, oh, I forget it's enter, not space. Now that you created this, you can then just start beginning playing around with it. So you can then change all your easing to be a lot more different. So you can have it shoot in, slow down at very end, or slow in and then just shoot out as if it was like a cannonball or something, as we showed at that first one. So say for example here we can delete, actually yeah, let's just delete all these. And let's do another one. Let's do another easings chart for slow in and slow out. Let's say we want to go here. Say for example we wanted to start off really short and then shoot out. We can kind of work out more or less where the middle is, and then we can just start playing around with somewhat where the easing is going to be. Again, you don't have to do it this way. There's probably other ways you can do it that's a lot easier. But like this is more like if you really want to stack up your... You might not even need this one, to be fair. Yeah, you can really stack it up to one end and then just like start really slow and then... Sorry, that didn't even register. You start off really slow and then you go. So in this case, go back on here, press that. What time are we on? 51. Ah, no, we're gonna have to... I thought I'd be able to do more. Oh well. Oh well. We'll cover what we can. Right. So it could be something like this, where you start really slow and it just shoots forward. So that's slow in and slow out. If you've got any questions, let me know. If you want me to go slower, let me know. Right, next one that we got We've got anticipation, staging, and arcs. All right, we'll just get to the exercise. So we'll leave staging and anticipation for next week. We'll just do arcs, which is the main exercise of what today's session was going to be. Where's OBS gone? Right, if you are doing arcs, let's show you guys what the exercise is. I do not want this background. I'm going to do a new background. Pull that plane. I'm going to shove it with this color. Okay, yeah, we're going to have to... Yeah, on the VOD, you should be able to pause it if I go too quickly. But we'll stick with this. So, background plane. Here's what I want you to do for an exercise. So this is for after stream. Well, I guess your homework for this week. I want you guys to draw yourself an arc. It can be any arc. It can be... Oh, no. It can be as simple as... You do this. Just like a simple arc. You can go... like this. Simple arc. You can go crazy, stupid style like this. Any of those are the basis of what you should be drawing. I basically want you to design an endpoint, a start point, and an end point. So in this case, we'll design it something like this. This is going to be our arc. Ah, what's it doing, bruv? Oh, there we go. Oh, god damn it. Copy the frame. There we go. Right, so that's the arc. Once you've got the arc, I then want you to somewhat begin plotting out where your slow in, slow outs are. Now, the way you can apply this to this sort of thing is think about it when you go on a roller coaster. Or like when you're surfing, or like mountain. Well, a topical one could be like ice snowboarding, when you're going up or skiing. When you go up something, or like you go up very slow and you get to the point, and then you come back down really quick. That's kind of what you want to think. So all these peaks is where you want to have like your sort of like slowest point potentially. Again, you can mess around with it. So in this case, we could be like, all right, we'll work out the midpoints, and now we'll in this case, because I've drawn so many curves, I've got 3 main peaks that I want my animation to go past. Now, I can either go, I want it to go past really quick through those peaks, so I can say I want it to go slow. So in this case, if we then work out, I'll use blue to work out. Actually, no, I'll use green. So there's going to be the in-between points for those peaks, and then I can be like, all right, I want this to go really slow in these peaks. So it slows down when it gets to the top, and then it comes down quickly. I'll just add in my half. Don't touch the wire. A little bit. I guess this guy's got that vibe when you think about it that way. So now, if we add this in, I've got to find a quicker way to do this. Now, when we go to add in our arc, let's increase the size. We just then follow that path that we made. So we do a drawing on each. So every frame, so this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 frames that we've got to do. Oh shit, so this is double. Alright, let's go. 20 frames. So that's how many like key frames and key points and in-betweens that we got. So we can start with our just playing around with it. So every new frame is one of the new drawings. I'll add in this so you guys can see. And again, on Itcher, you're able to go forward a couple or backwards a couple as well, just to help out. And again, all this has just been done with mouse. So no excuses if you don't have the software for it. You can literally do this on your phone and practice this on your phone. How's that looking? Right, let's take this off and play it. That's the exercise. And you could just mess around with it and like refine it to be a lot smoother or whatnot. But that's pretty much what I want you guys to be doing. Is start have an end. So steps, recap. Have a start point and an end point, and then draw whatever your heart desires in terms of a line. It can be as wibbly wobbly as you want it to be. It can be zigzaggy. It can be like triangular. I don't know. Just design an endpoint that has like a path to it. Then I want you to add in some like key moments or key poses that you want your animation to either begin to slow down or to speed up. And then try and work with the easing. Like, do you want it to begin slowing down as it gets to the top? Or do you want it to go really fast over the top and then really slow coming down? Work out where your easing is going to be, and then you can start planning it. In this case, I decided I was going to have anything that's like a big arc. It's going to go really slow at the top and then go really fast on the way down. And yeah, you will get something that looks a little bit like this, potentially a little bit better looking. But that is in essence what I want you guys to do for your exercise. Now, with that out of the way, shall we get onto the quiz just so I can try it out? No, the easing does not have to be consistent between the peaks. That is only if you want it to. You can have a peak that goes really, really slow towards the end, but your earlier peak could have been a lot like bigger and easier. So it goes really fast past one peak, but that last one, it could really slow down. It all depends on the kind of story you want to tell for your piece, because if you want your... Think of it kind of like in a dance. Like a dance doesn't have consistent, like a dance is not just like this. Sometimes it goes like this, sometimes they slow it, sometimes they like pop lock it or whatever, and they transition between different types of easing. Like animation is all about like expression at the end of the day and what story you're trying to tell with your movement. So you don't have to be consistent if you don't want to. Like again, as long as you're doing it for the purpose of like the story, then it works. But like for practice, experiment with whatever, see how it looks. Because again, this is just an exercise to practice easing between different peaks of like, or different arcs that you're doing. Or if you're doing like a zigzag, for example, like you can play around with where the timing is. Like you can have it be... I think the main thing to take away from this exercise is that it's more about expression of movement and trying to see what it actually looks like. Because if we go back onto Chrome real quick, I can show you Alex Riggs. Alex Grigg. There we go. Where's this video on practice animation? This is basically taken for yeah, there you go. The 4 ways to practice animation. This is another great actually well I'll put OBS down here. Beep bop. Right, so there is an even freer way that you can do this. If you watch Alex's video, which I'll put on here. Always to better practice animation, Alex Grigg. This will be a PDF, they'll be on the Discord if you guys want to come and have a look at it. But the other thing you can do is literally just freeball it. Like, you don't need to plan if you don't want to. The planning is just for you guys who are completely new to start sort of consciously thinking about easing. But if you want to freeball it, just do this, like, without any, like, looking at what you're doing. Just start, like, placing the dots at random spaces and random timings. Have the onion skin on to give you a vibe, but you can end up really quickly with something quite fun and unique and expressive. So if I take us back to hide screen, there we go. So to take you guys back here, if I hide everything here, and we just do, if we literally just do what Alex is doing on that video, which is you just have a layer, you have your dot, we'll make it a little bit smaller, and you just fucking go nuts. Like, I'll turn the onion skin on. Can I hide this? Like, literally just go nuts. Just start pressing it in different ways. Start, like, messing around with the spacing and the timing of it all. Think about moving it. Oh, we're out of space. No! I ran out of frames. You might need more frames to this. But basically, this is kind of what you end up having. Like, you can, like, proper freeball it if you really want to. At planning the route is probably, like, a better way to practice your easing charts, because when you get to... I don't know if you've seen a lot of, like, animators who have things called easing charts, where they basically go, like, oh, here is position A, and then they've got, like, this chart with like different lines on it that you might have seen, and then that's like C, and then that's like B, and it's like confusing. This is kind of to start getting you guys used to that concept of what an easing chart looks like. It's not, easing charts are a completely different like way of reading them. Like you have to learn how to read them. But like if you just want to freeball it, like you can literally just practice doing this with like a ball or a shape. And it's pretty simple to do. But like just to add in a little bit more of like practice with so this is kind of what it ends up looking like when you do it all together. So you could do something like this just by freeballing it. But sometimes it is good to learn how to actually plan it, which is what I felt was probably... Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll explain. I'll explain how to use these easing charts. Because it's the way that I think it's just the way. I think it's just the way that you read them. It's a little bit different. So like some people may like. You have to draw these in, but then this is like a different pose, and like there's different ways of reading it. But this is literally what you're going to be doing, but in a more freeball fashion. There we go. So you label it the same, but some people add in stuff in between. That was my bad. Like some people add different connotations on these timing charts to tell you what's what. But this is basically what the concept of slow in, slow out is to do, is to help you learn kind of where things are going. You do your arcs of action. So for example, if my hand is going up, down, there's going to be an arc of movement following this point, and then depending on the slow in or slow out, I give it that sort of like the spacing that we want to do. So it all comes together when you do it properly. But yeah, there's a lot of these animation charts that have it's... I still don't fully get half of them. It's like, what do you mean? What is all this? So there's different ways of understanding it, but we can cover that in a different lesson. Right, let's do a quick quiz, and then I've got to head off for lunch. Right. So, quiz time. Everyone who is watching or lurking, if you have the time to come out of your lurks to come and do a quick quiz, let's see what we have. I can't even remember what I did it, what I've done, but we'll see, Right, question number 1. What is the point of the 12 principles of animation? I'll repeat it twice every question, by the way. So, again, what is the point of the 12 principles of animation? Is it A, making animating super easy? Is it B, to save time when animating? Is it C, to get more realistic or fluid animation? Or is it D, to get choppier, more stylized animation? Write in your answers on the chat and just type it in A, B, C, or D. Type them in and post them in. I guess I'll have a timer, but I don't know if it's copyrighted. Alright, wait, can I do a timer? Do I have a command for timer? Nah, shit. Wait, do I have timer? Oh, no, accidentally did that. Right. I'll just take you. Yeah, it is C. It's to get more realistic animations. Yes, they can make animating a lot easier, but like the essence of why they were created was mainly just to make animating a little bit more realistic, because a lot of the body doesn't move in like abstract ways. Run a blank poll. Oh, yeah, could do. All right. So this is an image. What principle is being shown or used here? So just take a look at this image. It's basically a shape and then a squashed... Oh shit, I just gave it away. Fuck. Sorry. I gave it away. Sorry, I'm a fucking idiot. I should have said that. Ah! Yeah, have a guess. Is it A, staging? Is it B, squash and stretch? Is it slow in, slow out? Is it lighting? Like, yeah, it's B, sorry. It was on the tip of my tongue. My bad. Yeah, you're all correct. It is squash and stretch. Yeah, this is the example of the face. When you squash a face down and you make it spring back up again, that is the concept of squash and stretch there. Right, I think this one we did not cover today, actually, so this is a little bit harder. For those of you who do know what this principle is, this should be easy enough. For those of you who don't know, there was one more, I'll show you the list. So this is the image. So you have our boy Mickey idling. We have him doing a little action beforehand, and then he runs off. Is it A, anticipation? Is it B, secondary action? Is it C, staging? Or is it D, appeal? So far we've got 2 votes on A. Dan the man, A. Yeah, you're correct. We didn't cover it, but it is anticipation. Basically, to cover that really quickly, we can do that again next week. It's basically where you're about to do something, but rather than going from like A to B, you do A, B, C. Simple. I think that's the easiest way that I learned it. It's basically where you're like, okay, I'm going to move from one direction to another. So if I'm going from like this, I'm looking straight at the camera to look into this side of the camera. If I'm just doing it like that, it doesn't look realistic. Adding a little bit of a little look into the opposite direction you're moving in, damn, makes a difference. Trust me. The more you exaggerate it, which we'll look into next week as well, that's fair enough, Dan the man. So much you're learning. A lot of B as well. Yeah, so so the weird thing about 12 principles is, again, they're just a guidance. Like, they're just there to help you whenever you're critiquing your own work. Have you got it? If I don't add any, you can add squash and stretch to accentuate it. Or like in this case, you can add secondary action. As you see Mickey's tail, that would count as secondary action, where the tail is moving at a different pace to Mickey. So it's kind of like when you go to whip something out, like the tip of the whip does something like funky, because it goes at a different thing. Or when you're moving and you got like a ponytail, or like if you got like an afro and you move one way, the afro moves a different way, and then it sort of like goes back into the center. The principle of anticipation is just like the action before you do the other thing, usually going in like the opposite direction for a little bit. So like in this case, if I was gonna run from this side of the screen to this side, I wouldn't just go straight. I'd do a little bit of like this way, and then I'd go. And then, yes, you can exaggerate it, which is another principle. You can squash and stretch it to add even more emphasis on how fast you're going. You can then apply some timing and spacing to make that run like, you know, like the Flash, to go like, that you really hold in that punch, and then it's like, bang, like you throw your punch or whatnot. Yeah, I mean, again, with all these principles, the more you combine, usually the better. But again, it's intentionally adding. You don't just add them in for the sake of adding them. If it adds to what you're trying to tell in your story, you add it. If it doesn't make sense in where your story is, because like if I am gonna be like, you know, if I'm having a really heartfelt moment, I'm not gonna always be adding in exaggerated movement to my character. So if my character is like sad and depressed, and I'm gonna have them move from like one end of the screen to the other, I'm not gonna have them be like, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Like, it will most likely be like a subtle, like, I'm going to do like a breathe in and then slowly begin to move out. So you don't always need to mix them up. It's just, if it makes sense to your story and the emotion, has Pixie Editor, send it over on the Discord and I can have a little look at what you've got. But yeah, that's kind of, in the end, kind of what you want to go for. Yeah, exactly. All depends on the context. But again, to reiterate, the 12 principles are all about like using different techniques, combining them together, all to do with what you're trying to tell in your story. Story always comes first. This is why you can have an animation that's created literally using like scraps of paper, not even like any actual like digital stuff, that you could just be taking pictures and doing something really low budget and it still works well, as long as you got those principles or those core concepts of like, if you're going to move something, you've got that space and you've got that timing between the shots. You've got that sort of like ability to squash them a little bit, give them some anticipation. Like, no matter what you've got, these should apply to whatever medium. Even if it's CGI, if it's like paper craft, claymation, traditional like cell animation or whatnot, it's like universal stuff. But those are the first like 5 or 6. We'll cover the rest for next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to find out more in your own time, here are the 3 videos that I recommend. I will make a PDF and post this on the Discord. If you get age gated, just send me a message on Instagram and I'll send it your way. Or I'll see if I make something on YouTube. I know there's community features in YouTube now. So I believe if I go to my channel, there's a community button on my channel that I believe I'll be able to post stuff. So you guys can then view stuff on my community channel within YouTube itself. So potential. If you guys get age gated, just send me a DM on Instagram. Is probably the best way. But yeah, that'll be all for now. I've got to go and eat. Thank you all for joining today. I hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, if you guys got any questions, Discord or DM me on Instagram if you get age gated. Apologies for the inconvenience there. We're trying to sort that out. But yeah, we'll catch you next week for the second part of this. And then, yeah, we got a couple more streams on animation specifically. I can't remember what I planned them as. I need to remember. But yeah, we got a couple more streams. One more on the principles, and I think the rest will be on actually doing like exercises that we can go over for animation practice. But yeah. I mean, yeah, to be fair, Dan, if you got the time, you could always develop your own app for animation, but... Oh, what, for Discord? I mean, as long as you're not vibe coding it, it's all good, because I've seen some sites are like, oh, with a new Discord, and I look at it, it's like, it's created with vibe code, I'm like, oh, I don't trust that. I don't trust that at all. But either way, it's what it is. We'll play around. I'll keep you guys updated on the Discord. Hopefully... it gets fixed, hopefully get that tag removed, because again, I've got evidence that we haven't posted anything explicit. It's just nude studies that we were doing, because again, it's an art server. We were doing anatomy studies, like what can you do? It's literally like a canon event, but again, if they're going to be stricter on the TOS, then yeah, I guess fair enough, is what it is. I've removed it all now, so like, I don't know if that's... like, I did it before they asked, so like, hopefully that's something to show goodwill that I'm sorry, like, can you please remove it? We won't have anything in this, like, anything related to people being naked or lewd or whatnot. We won't have any of that, but we'll see. If not, yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on what the plan is, but if you guys do want to reach out to me and you are age-gated, remember, just message me on Instagram and I'll get back to you. Sweet. All right, well, I'm going to go over to the outro. Catch you guys on Friday for our D&D. Wait, not D&D. What are we doing Friday? I actually don't know what we're doing Friday yet. I forgot what we're doing Friday. Well, we're doing the artist showcase, and I think we're just doing community hour where I'm going to be drawing some stuff for another event. Yeah, so showcase on Friday. I'll be selecting some people from the server to showcase their art, and then might be going just to do some general like drawing with people, just like some general like art practice for the hour. But we'll have a look. So I think I had some notes on what we were going to do different for Fridays, but I forgot what it was. Either way, thank you all for coming. I'll catch you all later. See ya. Wait, where's my outro again? Hey, found it. Bye.